Shady Camp. Merci.
The honourable member for Cape Breton-Richmond.
Mr. Speaker, last week the Premier expressed disappointment that the Energy East pipeline was cancelled and that the pipeline would not be extended into the Strait of Canso area in the constituency of Cape Breton-Richmond. What he didn't say is that the cancellation of the project will shackle Nova Scotians to overseas oil and overseas prices indefinitely. Mr. Speaker, it's easy to be disappointed after the fact. Mr. Speaker, as much as I would like to direct this question to the Premier, my question is directed instead to the Minister of Energy. What did the Minister and the Minister's Department do to ensure that the Energy East pipeline and the jobs that inevitably would have come with it made its way to Nova Scotia?
The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do thank the member for the question. Look, this was a disappointing decision for the government. Obviously, it's a private sector investment decision that has national implications. We are always supporters of this project. We work with our sister provinces, with the national government, to try to keep this on the agenda. This would have certainly, phase one would have brought the oil to St. John, and a later phase we were hopeful that would have came to Nova Scotia, which would have provided access to the world markets through our beautiful province. But, Mr. Speaker, that's a decision that's outside of our control, but we've doing tremendous work on our offshore oil and gas, on the idea of taking natural gas through to Nova Scotia and moving it on to international markets. So while we're disappointed, we're going to keep building on the energy file and make sure that we get all kinds of benefits from Canada's natural resources. Thank you.
The honourable member for Cape Breton-Richmond.
Mr. Speaker, Nova Scotians never heard this government stand up for them when it came to Energy East. Nova Scotians are not seeing this government take a public stance against the federal tax changes that are coming down the only pipe that we'll ever see. Mr. Speaker, I would like to know, why is this government so afraid of standing up and doing what's right when it comes to opposing their federal cousins?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I want to thank the honourable member for the question. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure her, Mr. Speaker, that we can defend the interests of Nova Scotians. We've done so more recently when I was in Ottawa, talking about the issue of tax changes. We continue to work with our sister provinces, continue to talk about how we develop resources, not only the Energy East, but how do we ensure that Newfoundland Hydro comes through our province, that we harness the Bay of Fundy, that we have access to our neighbours to the south, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to removing renewable energies into the sector. But I want to assure the honourable member, just because we don't find every microphone to yell at doesn't mean we're not out doing our job.
The honourable member for Sackville-Beaverbank.
Mr. Speaker.